I'm Anisa, and I'm the General Director of Urban Planning and Development Control at the Municipality of Tirana. I've been doing this job for a little while now. It's almost 12 years, and it's a challenging job because we are a very dynamic, vibrant, developing city. My team and I are responsible for not only controlling the development of the city, but also for doing or having a smart, sustainable planning for the future generations to come. Initially, Tirana was a typical Ottoman village. It had a small mosque and a clock tower in the center of the village, and then during the Mussolini era, the town was transformed into a boulevard, they called it, without a city, because the invaders built the main boulevard, some small buildings, 2 to 3 floors, for the main governments at the time, and that was it. So during the communist era, after the World War II, the city started developing. It was a typical socialist, it was communist era city. We had only social housing. It was 4, 5, max 6 floor, very minimalist architecture, and large streets, because private ownership wasn't allowed at the time, so people had very less, let's say none, private owning cars, which looking at it now, it was very nice. And soft mobility was the only way to communication, to mobility or public mobility. And after 2015, being assessed by the Boeri team, Boeri architects team of Milan, we finally managed to make and approve our own general local plan. In 2019, the whole, let's say, Republic of Albania and Tirana had a territorial reform, meaning that the surface of Tirana got almost 25 times bigger than it was, because it incorporated the communes or small municipalities around the urban area. So the general local plan wanted to become, or let's say the main vision was to have Tirana as a kaleidoscopic city, because Tirana is a very mixed fabric of the urban fabric, and also very mixed cultural and religious diversity. After 1990, the communists fell, and then that regime went down, and we turned into a republic, democratic republic. So we suffered a lot from informal developments, because everybody, from not having anything, they started to just own these pieces of land, or they started migration towards Tirana, where the main business and the central government is located, because it's the capital city, of course. So that turned into a controlled development and urban sprawl everywhere. So it was very, very challenging, especially now that the local plan is in power, and you have to resolve certain issues that you already find on the site and which were not controlled at the time they were developed. Well, we are facing certain wishes due to urbanization, which is becoming very dynamic. We are suffering from heavy traffic inside the urban area in certain times of highlights of the day, and as all other countries, we are also facing environmental problems. We are starting to lose the 4 typical seasons we had during the year because of the global warming, and sometimes heritage conservation. it was these buildings are led by their faith. They are not being reconstructed or renewed by the owners, mainly because some of them migrated or because they don't find it viable to renew these houses. So we have to find a solution to bring that back to life. And then social inequality, because of we have not as much, but we do still have social inequality between social classes. So these are basically the main problems or challenges. The vision for the city is to become a sustainable city, an inclusive city, because let's say more than a urban asset for Tirana, it's an asset, the social relationship between people and their interfacing. So it needs to be, like I said before, the kaleidoscopic city for everyone, to accommodate all the needs and to give service to everybody. This vision is meant to be implemented through some main project that the Boyeri architects, along with our team, escalated on the, let's say, the strategic of the implementation of the plan. We don't have an original plan because it's the general local plan that's in power, but we have a national general plan which has more than instruments for planning. It imposes policies to planning. So our general local plan is in accordance to the national local plan. And for example, one of the main projects of the national local plan is Tirana and Durrës are two cities that are very close to each other and are the main cities as far as economic development and urban development. And they thought the zone connecting these two cities, call it Durrës and Tirana, and make that a very high industrial and commercial area, and to produce, let's say, more economic growth for the nation. We are trying to balance that through, let's say, these certain strategic projects that I want to mention, and through balancing diversity with livability of the city. Let's say the first, main project, which is also part of the Green City Action Plan that we have been approving lately, is the metropolis, or the orbital forest we plan to get built by the end of 2030 around in the perimeter of the urban area of Tirana. It's a very nice initiative because we plan to build only in the urban area about 2 million trees, and 60% of them are donated by citizens. Since our mayor started doing these, donate trees and plant them, people now have this terrain to, let's say, do a birthday present to someone by planting a tree somewhere, and they have a special number on it, and then they are connected to the ground and to the territory. So this is a kind of good connection between private and public sector, and if there is a vision, then you can find a way to achieve it. Then Metro Bosco has other rules that applies to the development even on private properties. If they want to build, they have to build in a certain way to respect the rules of Metro Bosco and have their own houses or homes built. Another project or strategic project is, for example, to have a polycentric city, but don't make Tirana just a transit place or place just to work, or a dormitory. Make a place you want to visit, make it the final destination, and also give these polycenters an identity. So, for example, we promote local goods that are being produced or made in the, let's say, rural area of Tirana, and we have recently built an agricultural market, so the local farmers can gather and conserve their goods in the proper way, and then instead of let's say come to the traffic to the city everyone by themselves, so making the traffic heavier, they can use a single chain or line to distribute their goods. And then we are also planning on empowering and enlarging the existing main roads, so we lighten up the traffic. The transit doesn't need to go through the city, it can go around it. And then the two inside ring roads that are already partially existing, they are meant to be developed in the future as green corridors for the city. And then there is also two smaller rivers going through the city. One is going right to the heart and the other one is in the north part of the city, and they are meant to turn to blue corridors by these projects being canalized as it should, and have a lot of green spaces and pedestrian areas around them. It's very relevant because the polycentric city should be these centers around the city, and the city itself, they should be the city within the 15 minutes walk, so where a citizen is supposed to have a mixed-use development and have all these services offered to him without having to commute by car or make a heavy traffic. So we, after the earthquake of 2019, we started to develop one of these neighborhoods. The purpose was not only to house the people that were left homeless without from the earthquake, but it also to make a neighborhood that was full of services, commercial area, schools, even religious purposes, and offices. So within this 15-minute walk, this neighborhood could have all the services they needed, and it was an ex-industrial area that had been renewed and recuperated. So we are very keen on going on with the other sites to implement and realize them. Since the pandemic, yes, we have seen a lot of, as we were mentioning earlier, a lot of tourists. Tirana is coming more and more known by tourists. So we have had a hit of tourists, very high numbers, more than we are actually Albanians living inside the city and the country. And we have changed in a way that we are more conscious that even if you are a complex city and a complex system, you are always sensible to natural disasters or natural pandemics. So we need to think sustainable and to think about being a smart city. Yes, we have different subsidies to the people with low income at a general level of government and local level. At general level, since 2019, every developer that is going to build a plot, if it's the building is going to be more than 2,000 meters square above ground, then 3% of that amount of service has to be devolved to the municipality for social housing, and thus we prevent having the gated communities we were talking, and because we also have an example of only a neighborhood with social houses, but they look like really ghettos. So in order to incorporate and have more inclusiveness, we think this is the better way to achieve it. And then we do have a bonus rent for the families in need. So if they are not yet there to have the houses, at least the rent is supported by the municipality. I think that since we have around 25,000 people coming inside the city every day in Tirana, that means like 1,000 apartments, we need to keep it up. We haven't solved it yet because there is always more demand. So, but we have the instruments and the tools to resolve it, I think. Well, we have, first of all, it's developing according to the national codes and the UA codes, and that is a must-have during the building permit. And then the other one is that we have different regulations planned by the municipality that we go and implement every day on the aesthetics of the building, on the materials palette, on the colors, on thermal insulation. You need to have when you apply for permit, building permit, you need to have the efficiency study of that building and try to have a certain class of efficiency. So doing this, we think we are on the good way to have a control and very high quality buildings. Well, I think densifying through some instruments we have, I think it's really relevant. For example, we have a maximum footprint, we have a limit on the maximum footprint you can use when you build. That's a 45% of the whole building plot, that if the developer is willing to reduce to 29 or 30%, then the municipality as incentive have a 3-story higher building just to reduce the consumption of the ground. So you have maybe or a little bit more amount of surface built, but it is going higher rise and it's not occupation of the soil. So you have more space to have green areas and recreative areas. Sometimes we do, by this kind of development, we achieve plot lands to build schools or kindergartens having zero expropriation costs. So I think that's a good idea, that one of the main rules of the general local plan that was very good to implement. And then the Metro Bosco project that we have, which doesn't totally stop building in these areas because they are still private areas, but there, if you want to build in this area, you have a maximum footprint of the ground of 30%, and the underground shouldn't be more than 50% of the entire plot. So that's increasing the filtered green areas. So it prevents erosion in the years to come. So I think these are good instrumental plannings that can be used. I think in the last maybe 20 years, but we in 2017 were part with to EBRD, Green Cities Action Plan, and we managed to approve our own Green City Action Plan, which provides expansion of the biking lanes in the city, pedestrian areas. We are converting some streets that are close to the schools in one lane only for cars, and the other half of the street is pedestrian, and it's devoted to the citizens. And the Metro Bosco, the orbital forest, is also part of this Green City Action Plan. As I told before, we mean or want to build, to plant 2 million trees by the end of 2030, and half of that is done by private owners who are donating this greenery to the city. To us, densifying is really a good way of having a controlled development, and makes room for more commune service to use for all the citizens and for the pedestrians. So let's go high and let's occupy the territory, leave it to the citizens, so they have places where they meet, they socialize, they get to interact with each other.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.